So Ian, what we were really saying is this is a paradigm shift for human beings. And that's got a pretty big implication for us all. It's the so what question. So what does this all mean? What would you say?
Yes, it is. And these things are relatively rare in human experience, you know, that we have a kind of view of the world or how life seems to work, and then every now and again it's realized, either individually or collectively or both, that, oh, the way we thought about it actually isn't true. So historically we know that that happened in the 1500s, at the time prior to which it wasn't believed, it was known that the Earth was the center of the universe and the sun and everything else revolved around us. You know, look how clever we are. Along comes Copernicus, followed by Galileo. They were able to prove conclusively that that knowledge was actually untrue. And it was considered heretical, and it was very difficult for people to accept that new view initially, for the simple reason that it contradicted their everyday experience. And it still does. So even though we've known that now for 500 years, we still talk about sunrise and sunset as if the sun is going around the Earth. But why? Because it looks like that's what's happening in our experience. But at least now we have an understanding, which is well established in science, that, okay, it can look one way, but the reality is different. So this is kind of in that category. And how does it look in our experience? It looks to all of us as if the way I feel is being determined and created by what's happening outside of me, and things that have happened in my past, things that are happening in my present, even things that might happen in my future. So it looks like I'm constantly having to react and respond to life situations and events, most of which I can't control. So that's problematic for human beings. What this understanding starts to introduce is the radical possibility that actually it doesn't work like that. It looks like it does, but in fact there's what we're calling a hidden variable at work. So you can have 6 people in the same circumstance, but actually they're going to feel differently to each other. They're going to have quite different responses. How come? Because what they're really feeling is being created through this invisible power of thought. And in that sense, what we're feeling is independent of what's happening outside of us. That's radical. It's not particularly well recognized even within the field of psychology. So this is a relatively new paradigm in that sense, that people are just starting to wake up to the fact that, oh, it looks like my human experience is coming at me from the outside, but what if, in fact, it's been generated from the inside? Now, anybody who starts to get a glimpse of that possibility for themselves finds that it's a very liberating idea. It's a very empowering idea. And it's something that it changes their experience of life even while they're in the same circumstances they were before.
You know, there's another thing that occurs to me about what's paradigm shift here, is we've inherited the idea through millennia that we have to have more and do more. And that's the way to success. And we have to get involved with that. We have to better ourselves. We have to figure out strategies. We have to be involved and control a lot of things to get things where we want them to go. And yet what this points to is that we're not really in control of very much at all, not even our own thought, not even what we're going to think tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And yet there is still an intelligence we can tap into that we kind of sense as our own inner guide, our own inner GPS. And that can give us what we need moment by moment, which is the opposite of control. It's allowing and going with the flow. And that is a fundamental different message. Although through millennia it's been pointed out, yes, it's kind of not the inherited way of, you know, what we're told.
Yeah, that's right. And I think another way of saying that or talking about it is the recognition that most of us we're chasing after experiences or material things or different life circumstances because we think that we'll have more well-being. We think that we'll feel better if that happens. Now, the problem with that logic is that I can only feel better if that happens. If it doesn't, I'm stuck. You know, it looks like my well-being is contingent upon life being a certain way. And it certainly looked like that in my life for a big period. And then to realize, oh, wait a minute, well-being is a constant. It can't go anywhere, and it's not dependent on anything. Imagine that. That
changes the game.
It's a very powerful idea. And to, not just as an idea, but to realize that in your own experience, it changes everything, because from that place of knowing that you're already okay, you can still engage with life. You can still go after your goals if you want to, but there isn't that need. It's not driven by insecurity and need and trying to feel better. It's driven by curiosity and wouldn't it be fun? And also it's often driven by, well, this would be something that would contribute to society. It frees you to really contribute in a helpful way.
So it sounds like we're sold the idea of attaching ourselves to something that we want and making it happen is good. And what we're really saying, in this paradigm is, no, you already have what you're looking for. And when you operate from that place, life is great. And you don't need to attach yourself to anything to experience what we're all looking for, which is that ultimately love, peace, joy, fulfillment, freedom.
Yeah.